Have you ever wondered why some women seem to effortlessly draw men back into their lives, even after a breakup, while others struggle to get a simple text response? What if I told you there are 7 psychological principles that create such a magnetic pull that men find themselves irresistibly drawn back to certain women time and time again? Today, we read diving deep into the secrets that make some women absolutely unforgettable, and why men who thought they were done find themselves coming back for more. Before we jump in, let me be clear about something. This isn't about manipulation or playing games. These are fundamental principles of human psychology that create genuine attraction and connection. When you understand how the male mind works and what creates lasting desire, you're not manipulating anyone. You're simply becoming the best version of yourself while understanding the dynamics that naturally draw people together. The first secret that keeps men coming back is something I call a mystery principle. Think about your favorite TV show or book series. What keeps you hooked episode after episode or chapter after chapter? It's the unanswered questions, the intrigue, the sense that there's always more to discover. The same principle applies to relationships and attraction. Women who master this understand that revealing everything about themselves all at once is like watching a movie where someone tells you the ending in the first 5 minutes. Where's the excitement in that? Instead, they share pieces of themselves gradually, always leaving something new to discover. This doesn't mean being dishonest or fake. It means understanding that anticipation and curiosity are powerful forces in human psychology. When a man feels like he's fully figured you out, his brain stops working to understand you. But when there are layers to uncover, interests he didn't know you had or dreams you haven't shared yet, his mind stays engaged. He finds himself thinking about you during his commute, wondering what you're up to, curious about that book you mentioned or the story you started but didn't finish. The key is balancing openness with intrigue. Share your thoughts and feelings authentically, but don't dump your entire life story in the first few conversations. Let your complexity unfold naturally. Have hobbies he doesn't know about yet? Maintain friendships and interests that are entirely your own. When he realizes there are entire dimensions of your personality he hasn't explored, you become infinitely more fascinating than someone whose every thought and habit he can predict. The second secret is emotional independence. And this one might surprise you because it goes against what many people think creates attachment. Most women believe that the more they need a man, the more important they become to him. But psychology tells us the exact opposite is true. The women who keep men coming back are the ones who don't need them, but choose to want them. There's a massive difference between these two states. When you need someone, you operate from a place of scarcity and fear. You're constantly worried about losing them, which makes you clingy, anxious, and honestly, less attractive. But when you want someone from a place of abundance and choice, you're relaxed, confident, and magnetic. Think about it this way. If someone is with you because they have no other options or because they can't function without you, how special does that really make you feel? But if someone who has options, who could be happy on their own, who has a full and rich life, chooses to be with you anyway, that's incredibly flattering and attractive. Emotional independence means having your own sources of happiness, fulfillment, and self-worth that don't depend on any one person. It means you can be perfectly content spending time alone. You have goals and dreams that motivate you beyond any relationship. You don't lose yourself when you be with someone because you have a strong sense of who you are independent of any romantic connection. When a man leaves a woman who is emotionally independent, he often realizes something troubling. His absence didn't destroy her. She didn't fall apart or become a shadow of herself. Instead, she continued living her full, rich life. This realization can be jarring because it forces him to confront whether he actually added value to her life or if she was just being generous by including him in it. The third secret involves understanding something called intermittent reinforcement. which might sound technical, but it's actually one of the most powerful psychological principles affecting human behavior. This is the same mechanism that makes gambling addictive and why people become obsessed with social media notifications. Here's how it works. When rewards come at unpredictable intervals, they create much stronger behavioral patterns than consistent rewards. Think about a slot machine. If it paid out the same amount every single time, people would quickly lose interest. But because the payouts are random and unpredictable, people can become completely hooked. The women who keep men coming back understand this principle instinctively. They're not constantly available for every text, call, or last-minute plan. Sometimes they respond immediately. Sometimes it takes a few hours. And sometimes they're genuinely busy with their own lives. This isn't about playing hard to get or following arbitrary rules. It's about having a full life that naturally creates variation in your availability. When your responses and availability follow a natural, unpredictable pattern based on your actual life and priorities, it creates a psychological hook. The man never knows exactly what to expect, which keeps his brain engaged and anticipating your next interaction. This anticipation releases dopamine, the same neurotransmitter involved in addiction and intense pleasure. But here's what's crucial to understand. This only works when it's authentic. If you artificially creating scarcity by ignoring messages you want to respond to or pretending to be busy when you're not, it will backfire. People can sense authenticity, and fake scarcity feels manipulative. True intermittent reinforcement comes from genuinely having priorities and commitments beyond any one person. The fourth secret is about maintaining your individual identity within relationships. One of the biggest mistakes people make when they enter relationships is something psychologists call identity foreclosure. They stop growing, exploring, and developing as individuals because they become so focused on the relationship itself. The women who create lasting attraction never stop evolving. They continue pursuing their interests, developing new skills, and growing as people whether they're single or in a relationship. This means that even if a man thinks he knows everything about you when he leaves, you're not the same person when he encounters you again months or years later. This evolution serves two purposes. First, it keeps you interesting and dynamic. You're not a static person who stays exactly the same year after year. You have new stories to tell, new perspectives to share, and new aspects of your personality that have developed. Second, it demonstrates that you don't define yourself entirely through relationships. You're a complete person who happens to be in relationships, not someone who only exists in relation to others. When a man realizes that leaving you didn't freeze you in time, that you've continued growing and becoming more interesting in his absence, it can create a profound sense of regret and renewed attraction. He begins to wonder what else about you has changed, what new dimensions of your personality have emerged, and whether he made a mistake by walking away from someone so dynamic and self-possessed. The fifth secret involves understanding the psychology of challenge and achievement. Human beings are wired to value things more highly when they have to work for them. This principle, known as the effort justification effect, explains why people often treasure accomplishments that required struggle more than gifts that came easily. The women who keep men coming back understand that being too easy to win back actually decreases their perceived value. This doesn't mean being cruel or vindictive after a breakup. It means understanding that if you immediately welcome someone back with open arms after they've left, you're inadvertently communicating that their absence had no impact and that your affections are cheap and easily obtained. Instead, these women have standards and boundaries. If someone chooses to leave their life, there are natural consequences to that choice. Maybe they've moved on emotionally. Maybe they've started dating someone else. Maybe they've simply realized they deserve better than someone who couldn't appreciate what they had. When the man realizes that returning to your life isn't guaranteed or automatic, you become infinitely more valuable in his mind. This isn't about revenge or punishment. It's about self-respect and understanding your own worth. If someone can leave your life and waltz back in whenever they feel like it with no consequences, what does that say about how you value yourself? The women who command respect understand that their time, energy, and affection are precious resources that can't be taken for granted. The sixth secret is about creating positive emotional associations. Our brains are constantly making connections between experiences and emotions, and these associations powerfully influence our behavior and desires. The women who keep men coming back are masters at creating overwhelmingly positive emotional experiences. This means that when a man thinks about you, his brain doesn't just remember your physical appearance or the things you talked about. It remembers how he felt when he was with you. Did he feel accepted and appreciated? Did he laugh more than usual? Did he feel like the best version of himself in your presence? These emotional memories are far more powerful than factual memories. Think about your favorite restaurant. You probably don't remember every single meal you've had there, but you remember the feeling of satisfaction, comfort, or excitement you associate with that place. That's why you keep going back. The same principle applies to relationships. When you consistently create experiences where people feel good about themselves, where they laugh, where they feel understood and valued, you become associated with positive emotions in their minds. Even when they're away from you, thinking about you triggers those same good feelings. This doesn't mean being fake or constantly entertaining. It means approaching interactions with genuine warmth, curiosity about the other person, and a positive attitude. It means creating an atmosphere where people feel comfortable being themselves. When someone associates you with feeling happy, confident, and alive, they naturally want more of that experience. The seventh and final secret is about understanding the power of contrast and comparison. When men leave relationships, they inevitably start comparing their new experiences to what they had with you. The women who keep men coming back ensure that these comparisons work in their favor. This happens on multiple levels. There's the basic level of treatment and compatibility. If you were genuinely kind, understanding, and supportive, and his new experiences involve more drama, criticism, or emotional labor, the contrast becomes obvious. But it goes deeper than that. There's also the contrast in personal growth and life satisfaction. If you continue thriving, pursuing your goals, and living an enviable life, while his life becomes more complicated or less fulfilling, that creates a powerful contrast. He begins to wonder if leaving you was actually a step backward rather than forward in his life. The key to making this work is focusing entirely on your own growth and happiness rather than trying to make him jealous or prove a point. When your motivation is genuine self-improvement and life satisfaction, the results are authentic and therefore more powerful. People can sense when someone is performing for their benefit versus when someone is genuinely thriving. This means investing in yourself physically, emotionally, and professionally. It means surrounding yourself with positive people who appreciate you. It means pursuing experiences and opportunities that make you feel alive and excited about life. When he sees or hears about your flourishing life, it creates a stark contrast to whatever struggles or disappointments he might be experiencing. Now, let us talk about how these secrets work together, because they're not meant to be used in isolation. They create a compound effect that makes you genuinely irresistible to people who have the wisdom to appreciate quality when they see it. When you maintain mystery while being emotionally independent, you become someone who's fascinating but not desperate. When you combine intermittent reinforcement with continued personal growth, you become unpredictable in the best possible way. When you understand the psychology of challenge while creating positive associations, you become someone worth pursuing who's also enjoyable to be around. The beauty of these principles is that they don't just work for attracting ex-partners back into your life. They work for creating attraction and maintaining interest with anyone because they based on fundamental aspects of human psychology that don't change based on the specific person or situation. But here's what I want you to remember above all else. These secrets are not about changing who you are to manipulate someone else's feelings. They're about becoming the most attractive version of yourself by understanding how attraction and desire actually work. When you embody these principles naturally, you're not putting on an act. You're simply operating in alignment with psychological truths about what creates lasting connection and desire. The most important thing to understand is that these principles only work when they come from a place of genuine self-worth and emotional health. If you're reusing them as tactics to win back someone who treated you poorly or who clearly isn't right for you, you're missing the point entirely. The goal isn't to convince someone to want you. It's to become someone who naturally attracts people who are capable of appreciating and reciprocating healthy love. Remember that not every person who leaves your life should come back into it. Sometimes people leave because they're not ready for what you have to offer or because you're genuinely incompatible. The right person for you will appreciate these qualities, not just when they're trying to win you back, but consistently throughout your relationship. Use these insights to become more confident, more self-possessed, and more attractive, not just to past partners, but to future ones who will have the wisdom to recognize your value from the beginning and never want to leave in the first place. Because ultimately, the best relationships are with people who choose you every day, not just when they realize what they've lost.